see on our screens now, the teams they have, as you said, is that Caligai's Palkia with the Tapu Fini. So, that's going to stop any Will-O-Wisps or any power hacks or anything that could prevent Trick Room or damage from going out. Of course, we did see Jeongso's team earlier, which is the standard Swordfish with Good Stuff's team. So it is going to be a back and forth tussle because these are two teams with two different dynamics. One wants to go super fast and get as much damage done as possible. One wants to go super slow and get damage done over time. We do see that Kyogre comes out next to Grimmsnarl, so screens can be going up, taunts can be going up, and Palkia against Regieleki. And like we saw in our last match here with Philip, we could be seeing the threat of having a Trick Room Pokemon next to a super fast Pokemon like Regieleki, so Regieleki can get a nuke and a Trick Room can go up. Of course, these Pokemon, are really liking sitting in front of Palkia, because Dragon typing isn't doing much into the Pokemon such as the Grimmsnarl, and Palkia is not taking Groudon. Kyogre got her in the end, isn't taking too much from the water attacks. So it is going to be a back and forth tussle here, possibly trying to get a different Trick Room setter in, while Regieleki gets a nuke off to even out the field so Trick Room can be set up safer.
Yeah, I just want to say that these are actually leads that you don't see very often. I mean, Crystal actually led with Kyogre and Grimmsnarl in the top 16 match that we watched earlier, but like Regieleki and Palkia is something not too common, so there seem to be some very special strategies coming out from both ends. And I don't know if you saw Connor, but in team preview we had that short 20 seconds of team preview. I caught a glimpse of a lot of Yuya Tada's items, and those are kind of crazy items. The Incineroar actually has an air balloon, so let's see how things play out, because maybe like in this closed team sheets format, like preparing something special or preparing something that catches your opponent off guard could be the way to go to steal 2 games to advance forward. As we do see Dynamax from both sides, the Kyogre and the Regieleki from Yuya Tada's side, and let's see if Yuya's Regieleki is powerful enough to take down that Kyogre on Jeongso's side.
Yeah, so if it can take it out, even with the screens going up, that'll be very good for steadying the pace of the game. Max Lightning coming out, are we going to see if it is the wrong screens being set up? Yeah, we just see a lot of damage. We're going to see a knockout. The train does go up, and there is it seems to have just lived.
Yeah, reveals the life orb. Yeah. So that was a Max Lightning. I haven't took note of the Japanese move that it came out from, so apologies for that. And I do believe that Grimmsnarl logically should set up a light screen in front of both Palkia and Regieleki that are potential special attackers. But interesting turn of events, because Regieleki wasn't able to take down the Kyogre, and Kyogre fires back with Max Geyser, and with Regieleki's life orb that's revealed, is enough to take down even a Dynamax Regieleki.
Yeah, so Regieleki not being the bulkiest Pokemon in the game, of course it can have an Assault Vest, sometimes make it even bulkier. This one being a more offensive one, maybe just doing the job we talked about earlier, of it does loads of damage, then goes down for Trick Room to go up. It has achieved that role, but of course now the Kyogre is still very big, screens can go up, we'll see an Incineroar for Fake Out onto the Grimmsnarl, and then Palkia can easily go for a Trick Room here because it's not taking much damage from any of these moves here. We could see the Incineroar just going down though from this really strong Max Geyser, as it does, and that just gives free reign for any Trick Room abuse to come in the back. If we do see the Palkia go for a Trick Room, because it is going last, and it does go for it.
Yeah, so Kyogre making full use of his max turns, right? Is took 2 KOs in 2 Dynamax turns. Yeah, so this could really help Jeongso in terms of the Pokemon numbers. But over here, having set out Trick Room and giving Calyrex Eyes a free switch, this could be the way for Yuya to try and close out this game. I think Trick Room can only be set up in this game once, and these turns are very precious. So let's see how things play out and how Yuya is able to maintain this advantage of speed.
You have to see how they keep up with that pace of the speed, because of course Trick Room has gone up. The Calyrex, the Pokemon that loves being in Trick Room, has come out. And the Dynamax has gone more on Regieleki, but Calyrex can easily go for a Glacial Lance. It should grab that Kyogre from here, given any roll changes, and then that'll give it a nice attack boost, and that'll mean it can steamroll as it always does. Kyogre is going small, so the damage roll will be beneficial even more as it switches out as it comes into Incineroar, so that damage roll isn't going to be as beneficial as I thought it would be, but still we could see a high horsepower go in that slot to try and guarantee as little damage possible. If not, Glacial Lance could just go that spread. But the White Herb does proc there, so it's going to be a lot of damage coming out still as the Reflect comes out, I believe, from that animation. And then it comes down to what Yuya has up to go for. Glacial Lance, see how much it does weaving through these screens. It still goes neutral attack stat, and that does a really nice chunk there. But you could see something like a Hydro Pump come from Palkia and go into Incineroar as it goes into there. So not calling that switch, but it could be a knockout, and it does grab it, meaning that the Kyogre can come back in, but at what cost with its lowered HP?
Very interesting. The Glacial Lance actually crit into the Incineroar. But what's more important to note is that the Calyrex Ice reveals the White Herb, so it's very tricky to switch in Incineroar with all these limited turns of Trick Room from Jeongso's side. But this time, easily, Incineroar threatens like the Fake Out, right, onto either of these mons, so Yuya really has to play very carefully, because if a Fake Out goes into the Calyrex Ice, followed by the Beamer Blade from the Zacian, then a very important piece of the puzzle is gone, and like kind of Palkia needs to 1v3 the remaining mons on Jeongso's side. And Kyogre, despite being at low health, could be very hard to take out.
Yeah, so it does come down to those stats, and of course Zacian is threatening it to Fake Out onto the Palkia, so no damage coming off this turn whatsoever. That is wasting a Trick Room turn as well, so Yuya has to really preserve these turns, seeing which I believe is either 2 or 1 turns left based off of the team preview, the stats page, we just saw there. So we have to see if they opt to try and go for outright damage with maybe calling a nice switch with their Glacial Lance, or just opting to pressure as much as possible with the moves that they do not can hit in that high horsepower, and then whatever other move Palkia decides to go for, possibly just a Hydro Pump because of the rain, because of the stab, maybe an Earth Power if it carries it. We did see some of the Japanese names of moves there, and then the high horsepower goes out into the Zacian, doesn't grab the knockout, but we could see if there is any retaliation from Palkia. But the parting shot though means that retaliation will be lowered, and any damage from that, given it is special attacking, will be doing less with those screens with those parting shots up. So it is like we saw with Juan versus Philip, where the players are having to work really hard to get rid of many of the stats as possible over these Trick Room turns just to bulk it out.
There was a Hydro Pump miss. So the Hydro Pump missed into the Zacian. At -1, like in rain, we will never get to know whether the Palkia would have taken out the Zacian, and here Jeongso really trusts his mons. Like logically, Jeongso would go for the protect on the Zacian, right? But he did not, and this kind of paid dividends, and Zacian is able to take out a very important threat of Calyrex Ice, and now it is just Palkia against the world.
Yeah, and Palkia, it can take your 2 Pokemon on. Of course, a Play Rough is threatened into it, but we did see the Roselli Berry in Team Preview, so that could be a bit scary if that is what, if it lives it and can get the damage off. Kyogre can't do much as Palkia, and Incineroar definitely can't do much as Palkia besides party shotting it until it is minimized as possible. So it is going to be, again, the case that we had with the Zacians in the first couple of games, where Palkia has got the moveset to overthrow these Pokemon, but does it have the overall skill set, to outlast it, given hacks and stuff? There is a crit there. Hopefully we don't see a freeze. That is lucky. The Hydro Pump does go off. It goes into the Kyogre, so possibly thinking there's going to be an Incineroar switch in there. And I do believe the Kyogre just lives on a sliver of HP. And the Play Rough is coming out here.
Revealing the Roselli Berry. But it's not enough.
Oh, not enough there.
Yeah, and then Palkia goes down, so Jeongso here takes game 1.
And we see a Kyogre coming out next to a Grimmsnarl, so the same from Jeongso. And then Palkia and Mugos, as I mentioned, so maybe somehow they are thinking on the same path as me. So as in, that's a really easy way of going for a redirection plus a trick room. Even though Kaiga has those spread moves, those moves are going to do very little damage to a Palkia and to an extent to the Amoonguss.
Yeah, so in game 1, all the cards were laid out. Like a lot of interesting items were revealed on Yuya's side, right? And then even like the Incineroar coming with the air balloon, it actually shows in the message. Yeah, and then sometimes in the calcs between the Kyogre and the Regieleki were also revealed. So maybe that incentivizes Yuya to change up the leads, and let's see how like this Amoonguss plus Palkia lead works out. Because I would say like if the Grimmsnarl doesn't carry Taunt or doesn't carry Fake Tears, like I wouldn't Rage Powder, I wouldn't protect Amoonguss, I would just go for Spore, right? Because you already reviewed the Kyogre's item.
Yeah, and you know, going for that Spore is also very beneficial, but you know, it just comes down to if Yuya feels that maybe there could be a Spirit Break or whatever going on with that Palkia. Of course, it is just a whole different kind of world, you know, what path either players take. Palkia going big, but we could also be seeing the Kyogre going big here. So that'll be an even better redirection if they go for it. Max Quake would be really good as well because it gets us. It's the Grimmsnarl going big, and not seeing it Gigantamax, so no G-Max Snooze. Hopefully that's not a mistake on our players' behalf of trying to go for that, and we could just be seeing a very big Max Fairy move actually.
Some people would like to say you are being Aaron trailered because you Dynamax a support mon just to make sure, you know, like Aaron went for a Dynamax on Whimsicott to go for Max Star 4 so that the partner mon doesn't fall asleep. I think this is exactly what we're gonna see here. Wow, going for the Star 4 and burning Palkia's Roselli Berry. Very interesting turn of events.
Yeah, so not only does that stop the Spore from going off, but it also stops the possibility of the Palkia living a play rough later in the game because the Roselli Berry is procced. And, you know, that is actually a really good play. Like, when I saw it go big, I was like, hang on, we're going to see G-Max Snooze? Is it going to be, you know, if you're going to put my Pokemon to sleep, I'll put yours to sleep? But no, that play was amazing, and, you know, just revealing that Spirit Break as well for later down the line for any other special attackers that may come in, it is going to reduce that special attacking stat. So a very good play there, and it is just forcing the hand of Yuya to go for what I believe could be a Pollen Puff or a Rage Powder just to replenish Palkia's HP, keep it as safe as possible, you know, work around these big Fairy Tail attacks that are going to be going into it.
Another interesting thing to know is if the Grimmsnarl did not Dynamax, the Grimmsnarl would have went down to the Max Geyser from the HP bars that we see on top. Yeah, so Grimmsnarl here going for Max Guard, protecting itself from Palkia's Max Geyser, and here Kyogre is free to go for the second Ice Beam into the Amoonguss, completely removing the threat of Sleep, of Spore. So just now you were saying like Grimmsnarl it could go for G-Max Snooze, but then G-Max Snooze, sorry, but then it's saying nope, I don't want any of the Pokemon on the field to go to sleep.
Yeah, just not wanting anything to go to sleep, being that prankster it is, it wants to have as much fun on the field as possible, and you know, that is just, you know, something that you can do with it, and it's just really changed the flow of the game now. So we're seeing forced moves like maybe a Max Quake to take special attacks better, and of course this Calyrex isn't going to be doing as much damage as it wants to because the Pokemon on the field. Max Geyser going off again into the Grimmsnarl. I believe that it does just grab the knockout there. So luckily that is gone, but it's done its job. You know, yeah, the Dynamax could be considered to be wasted, but it's gone and stopped Sleep, so it means the turn is always ahead. That massive water attack coming out from the Kyogre could do big damage, and then a high horsepower going into Kyogre doing very little damage. And
oh no!
Like,
no,
sorry. That is fine. Like, I have had a similar reaction, like possibly expecting to do loads of damage as Calyrex comes in, Zacian, sorry, and sees some very tasty Pokemon that it can hit with its 2 stab moves. As Palkia goes small, so it's definitely not taking that play rough if it hits. But remember, that is one of those big ifs in Pokemon that has to hit, so possibly relying on any misses or anything coming out from the Zacian to have any plan going ahead here for Yuya.
Yeah, apologies for like cutting you off there. But in this flurry of action, right, like I thought the most logical thing for the Calyrex Ice to do if you survive a spread move from Kyogre, I believe it's the water spout, then you should go for Trick Room because you know that Zacian's in the back and you can always like take the advantage from the speeds of Trick Room to help do damage, right? And hopefully try and take down this Kyogre, but instead the Calyrex Ice went for the high horsepower into the Kyogre slot, so this feels like a missed opportunity here.
Yeah, the opportunity it isn't really missed. It is. I want to say that he went for it thinking, maybe trying to call a switch or just try and get as much damage as possible. Of course, ice type attacks aren't going all heavily into those water type Pokemon, but it was just maybe just an adrenaline moment going for it. The play rough gets that Palkia even at the -1, just showing how strong Zacian is, and is one of these weaknesses that this team has. That yes, you take hits from Zacian's steel type attacks, but ice type attacks. The Thunder going into the Incineroar, paralyzing it. Not the worst thing, but it's going slow, and that could just be, a very detrimental play in Yuya's going forward.
Yeah, so the paralysis actually even makes the fake out not 100% play, and I think this is very, very tough for Yuya to try and get back, and I think Jeongso just did all that he should do just to keep pushing on the damage, and just hope that Yuya didn't set up Trick Room, and unfortunately it didn't happen. Because I think if Trick Room went up, there could be a chance, right, to threaten Zacian with a double up, then cause Kyogre to do something passive, and I think Palkia should still be like powerful enough to try and clean up the game.